You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live, and good morning to you, BigBeat. How are we doing today?
You know what? I looked at the new numbers for UNH this morning. I was like, whoa, that's inflation, right? That is when you see medical grade equipment and expenses going up. That actually scares me a little bit, right? I saw that was much. I will also say I watched the Rhoda Fed governor from Cleveland on CNBC this morning, and look, they are changing their tune slightly, saying, wait a minute. And guess who did change their tune? Christine Lagarde, the ECB, right? They go, oh, we're not going to lower rates, inflation, inflation, inflation. Well, now all of a sudden they've lowered their rates. Why? Because they're saying that they're going to be hurt by tariffs, that they're going to be in trouble, that their trade policies are going to hurt them a lot. And guess what? They're changing their tune, right? They are behind, but at least they're making the decision. And then yesterday, and of course, this morning, President Trump says the hour that Fed Chair Powell leaves is not soon enough. It just can't come soon enough. So now all of a sudden, everybody's seeing the ECB. They're now expecting 3 more rate cuts from them and expecting a rate cut in June from the Fed here in the United States. Listen, now because it's been so long and we waited so long, now we're waiting for the bad times. So now here we go. You messed up again, Fed. God damn.
Well, good morning to you, Steve. I hope you had a nice night. Yeah, I mean, I don't make light of what you're saying. You know, we've talked about the Fed being behind the times, you know, and they've been pretty adamant lately on the speaking terms that it might not still be time. I don't agree with it at all. Rear view mirror, rear view mirror, rear view mirror. It was like, you know, again, I saw something on this morning about, you know, last month's employment and how it wasn't showing weakness yet during tariffs because it wasn't tariffs yet. So
right.
Things happen, you know, the tariffs are in place, but the products haven't gotten here yet. So those changes haven't really happened yet. So, you know, that's the problem with looking in the rear view mirror here. So that's what was sort of placed out on. Steve, the one I want to talk to you more about, we brought it up yesterday, and I saw this article here in Barron's about delisting Chinese stocks is a real possibility. And the thing that kind of got me is I didn't realize he had done that before.
Oh, yes, he has.
Yeah.
He did it, yes, he did it in 20. Yeah, that's correct.
2021 with China Telecom, China Mobile, and China Unicom. So, you know, for those of us that are newer investors or maybe not as keen in the global view of things, I wanted to bring this up because this is now something that I'm seeing more and more. So it's something. And then the bigger part is the person we said was the same man in the room, our Treasury Secretary, said everything's on the table when asked about it this weekend. So I wanted to do a little bit more research there. This is $800 billion in ADR holdings.
That's correct. And we've said this before. And here's what's interesting. The last time he was president, he did just that, right? He did the scalpel politics and the scalpel. This time he's with sledgehammers, I've been calling it, right? The last time he used the reasoning because that telecom was using parts inside of their phones that were, you know, listening in on the United States, right? This time it's fentanyl. I mean, it's like, it's very, very, I don't really know the word I want to kind of use in this, but you're skirting the edges of what you really want to do by saying something else. I think maybe he's a magician. I don't know. Sleight of hand. Hey, look at the fentanyl issue, but this is what I'm really going to do. Look at the issue of, hey, they're listening in on us, so I'm going to delist these and cut these companies out. That's what he did last time, right? There is a very real distinct possibility that he does all of them this time. Because why? We said at the beginning, sledgehammer politics, we're going to do all of it at the same time. Okay. If that's the case, then this trade war is going to step up a lot in a way that we really don't need it. The numbers for rare earths, the numbers for cheaper quality products that the United States loves, these things are all going to go away. I was watching an interview of a local car dealership saying we have a lot of cars in our parking lot. There's no better time to pick up the car you want because we just have.
Yeah, the Steve meters hit me with a lot of companies. So I have a brand new 34-inch beautiful monitor that Best Buy was literally giving away this weekend because I think that they brought in all of this equipment and they need to get rid of it. So, you know, for literally $200, 34-inch widescreen curved, the whole 9 yards. There, I have been deluged with ads, you know, across different areas of, you know, like you said, the Nikes of the world. All of them are offering sneaker at discounted rates. I had to get my dad a flight here for the little one's birthday. Actually, cheapest it's been in a year and a half. So. Yeah. You know, we are seeing companies having to make a change.
Yeah, and the dollar is still slipping here. You know, we're seeing the Dixie continue at 90. Gosh, I can't even see it right now. It's 9. Man, it's even off the charts here. Still slipping here. 99.41 here. We got below 98 earlier this morning. It kind of pushed back up. But even our power of our dollar is slipping too, as well as we look to buy those foreign goods as they're coming over. Tariff or no tariff, we're losing all the way around, right? If you're putting tariffs on and our dollar goes down, the United States is losing its power as a powerhouse. I think my friend Oliver Kelman and I talked about this about a month ago, that, you know, there's a good chance that the United States loses its standing as the #1 country in the world when it comes to business. And here's what's interesting. And if you don't know this is probably some news to a lot of people. The World Bank, the IMF, is having big meetings right now in DC. The annual meeting is this week. All right. And the reason that it's in DC is because we are the most powerful country in the world. If China becomes the most powerful country in the world, they leave. they have to go by their charter to go to the most powerful country in the world. And that may be Hong Kong, and that may be Shanghai.
Right.
And that will give you, and it's not an easy move, right? It's not just one of those just pick up and leave. They have to go. They don't have a choice, and they have to build a new building, and it's not easy because they have to go. And when you look at it from that perspective, the dollar won't be 99. It'll be 69. It'll be 79. It'll be somewhere around there where we're no longer the reserve currency. We'll be buying our products in yuan and yen. Now, a lot of them are going to disagree with me on that because they're going to say, well, because oil is priced in dollars, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, and it isn't everywhere.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm not to that. I do think it takes a lot, and I do think that, you know, we've seen with BRICS that those countries have trouble, you know, agreeing with each other also. So that's what stands in our favor, in my opinion. There, I'm with you though. You know, it is a clear-cut decision. You know, if they become the world's largest economy, that is where the IMF, the World Trade Organization, all those things move. The UN would be the only thing I think that doesn't necessarily move, although they could have it. But that's, you know, that is definitely the case. It would take a lot to get us there. And hopefully, you know, again, that the Scott Bessents and the Howard Lutnicks of the world would step in before our president was allowed to take them down to those levels.
I don't know. Why do you say that?
Why do I hope, or why do I think it would happen? I said I hope. I mean, I don't necessarily think it will happen. I said I hope that those cooler minds that we've spoken about would be able to convince him.
But I don't think they will.
You know?
I don't think they will.
I mean, there's a lot of there is a lot of scorched earth. I was one of the first people to say that. I mean, you know, you're talking to someone who's been saying that it seemed to me that if he wanted to go scorched earth, he can. What's stopping him? It's over. This is it. You know, as much as he jokes about a third term and all that, you know, that isn't happening. And, you know, he has no problem. I mean, listen, the guy owes bills to, you know, every building he's ever built, right? There's people still lined up waiting to get paid. You know, that's just the way he's always acted. So we are 20 minutes away from the open. So far, Qs are set to open up down about a half a percentage point here. Or excuse me, up half a percentage point. So after yesterday's bloodbath, which you called, Steve, right down to it, you know, down 3% on the Qs, down 2.22% on the SPY, Dow Jones down 1.73 yesterday. So do you think we see a little bit of a mean reversing and a little move to the upside here today?
I couldn't scream it loud enough. The last few weeks, your charts are worthless during this time period right now. It's terrible because I like my charts. But as I've been saying, don't prejudge them. So to answer your question, tell me what the tweets are going to be today. Tell me what the headlines are going to be today, and then I'll tell you what the markets are going to do, right? And the last few days, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, Powell comes out and says, "We don't know what tariffs are going to do, so we're not going to lower rates." It's going to cause more inflation. I mean, that's just outrageous. That Powell didn't even bat an eye when he said it, right? He didn't look in the camera. He looked down at his sheets, right? And it tells me that he's nervous himself. And when a Fed governor and a Fed, in this case, Fed chair, is that nervous, now I'm getting nervous. I don't get nervous. I always say the words, "I ain't scared," right? I'm scared now a little bit. When the cooler heads, shall we say, quote, quotes, when the educated economists are literally clueless. We saw, like I said, Loretta Mester lost, and she was lost this morning with Steve Leisman. That's a problem, right? There's no clarity. And now I see all the talking heads now on the TV shows. They're all saying the word clarity now. Great. Glad you guys are watching. Thank you for watching. But you have the next level of this, which this is what no one's talking about right now. And I hate to admit it, and I hate to say it right now. Back in October, November, I brought the word out, stagflation. I brought that word out and I began to explain what stagflation is. And oh my God, there's no way we're going to have stagflation. That's where rates are high and unemployment is high and inflation is high and the economy is bad. It's all the wrong way on everything. That's stagflation, right? Today, we're talking about stagflation almost daily, right? That we're going into it. And I let the D word pop out at least twice in last week with the word depression, not because we're going into it, but a lot of the policies that are happening now. Now, when Smoot-Hawley, that's if we want, I don't want to give too much of a history lesson here, but when their tariff act came out, these two senators, wrote a law about the tariffs. It came from the congressional side, did not come from the White House, because back then executive orders were not like they are today. The White House, the president is way more powerful than the Congress was back then. Yeah. When they passed the bill, those guys lost by some of the biggest margins in history because it caused the Great Depression. Now, at that time, they weren't even in the Depression. When they wrote those bills, came out, they weren't even in depression at that point. There was the very beginning. But people were feeling it. They were feeling it a lot. I mean, people were losing jobs. It was bad, and we became a country that became very nationalistic and imperialistic as well in that aspect. And when they went forward, Democrats won the House and the Senate for 60 years later. I mean, they just boom, a long time, right? Until the Nixon era. I think this was what's scaring the president. Now, if you look back at some of his 1980s and 1990s interviews, he's saying the same thing. He said it himself, that we need to tariff them. So he hasn't said anything new, which is why we know what he's saying. We know what he's thinking because he's saying it for everybody, right? He said it for 30, 40 years. Okay, we know what he's doing. And we know there's a history. He better come off of it soon, or we're going to have a major, and I'm going to say the word depression. And we might be feeling the early side effects of recession. And as I always say, the old analogy that recession is when your neighbor loses your job and depression is when you lose yours, right? But in this case, the depression back then was, this is back in the 20s and the 30s. The depression was a little bit different. People were starving. People were having problems. I mean, it was bad, right? I mean, nobody had a job, right? Brother, can you spare me a nickel, right? Well, we probably won't have that. At that time, farmers were the majority of producers, right? They were producing, and we had manufacturing, John Deere. We had all these major companies producing cars, Ford. Think of it that way. And we were selling our cars internationally, right? Because we were a big car producer. And at that time, we were the #1 producer of almost everything in the world. Yep. Everything is flipped. China is the biggest producer in the world of almost everything. Technology.
Services is the one thing we haven't beat on
right now. So if people lose their jobs, it's going to be worse than the 20s and 30s because we are a services industry. And if manufacturing is not fast enough to get back up and running, we're not going to be able to make these things. So we're going to have an even worse depression than the 30s. Is that what the president really wants? I don't think so. I think he's trying to do that, right? We're open and available to make deals. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's like we're begging now. Please, on Friday we said, hey, China, we sent the note through our friend in homeroom that said, do you like us? And unfortunately, they circled no. That's what we're at. Give us a call. It's like that terrible song, right? Call me maybe. That's literally where we're at. But now,
or as Jimmy Buffett would say, if the phone doesn't ring, it's me. Look,
that's right. I love that one. I always forget.
Look, when I look at these markets, and I see young people trying to now navigate these markets, right? And they don't know what to make of it because I think I posted a Simpsons picture of me in my, today is great, tomorrow's bad. Today is great, tomorrow's bad. I don't know what to do in the trading world, right? This is where you start to learn, and I want everybody to listen to this. This is, if you don't know, I love sailing. I'm a big water boy. I can't help it. A good trader or a good captain is made in bad seas, right? You're not a good captain if you're in calm seas, right? We're not in calm seas right now, folks, trading. We're in very muddied, very stormy water right now, okay? This is when you learn to really trade, okay? I hear all the time, I was a good trader during COVID. What happened? Well, it's easy to be a good trader when the markets keep going up, right? It's very hard to be a good trader in times like this when you're not even sure what's going to happen in the markets. Now, luckily you have me and Howard, who's been doing this for 30 plus years, and we can tell you how when lived in the worlds. And I will tell you that right now, this is a tough trading time. So if you're feeling like I can't do this, I want to put my machine away, this is the time that you should be learning. This is the time when you should be getting the pen and paper out and the computers and your charts, yes, and your data and your Quasar Markets platform, all these things together, because this is when you learn to actually be a trader, right? This is what makes you a better trader. And I'll tell you right now, you better have TweetDeck up and running. You better have all these news articles, and we put it all together in one place for you. I made it easy for you. This is the best time actually to get Quasar Markets, because this is what I built it for, to help people do this. Now, when you look at the markets right now and you go, I don't understand. So there's an underlying theme here somewhere. And the underlying theme right now, I get it, it's stagflation, it's inflation, all the things I've been talking about. But how do I turn that into a trade? How do I make that, how do I protect myself? All right, you're asking that, great. Okay, well, you want to look for things that are not in trouble with tariffs. So we talked about this. Netflix is not in trouble with tariffs, right? We talked about this, that there are stocks out there that really are not affected by this, right? When you look at McDonald's, Wendy's, the fast food, now they're affected by the weight loss drugs, so you got to make sure. So when I start making these theses about what I want to invest in, I shove it all down into the AI. Hey, here's what I'm thinking about. Here's what the thesis is. Give me the interest rates. Give me how they've done in the past. Show me all of a sudden I'm getting a much better thinking about what I want to buy, and I'm not buying some crazy biotech or some crazy Wall Street bet stock because I'm trying to hit the lottery here all the time. Look, it doesn't work.
I gotta tell you, I'm proud because one of our everyday viewers, Jay, and I want to say hi to Jay and his son Arnold. He sent me today. I used Grok to come up with a high CAGR and high dividend 5 stock mix, 33% return, 2.6% dividend, and beta of 0.7 or less. So these people are learning, and learning how to use AI and those things.
I love it. And we have all of that
inside. Right? Have your thesis, make your thesis, ask the computer what it does. I do say check your work because ChatGPT did tell me Bitcoin was trading at 45,000 this morning. I couldn't get my hands on my phone fast enough to try to buy some, but it was not true at all. So you have to check your data. But if you wanted to do stuff, that's one of the great stuff that it does, especially Quasar Markets AI, where you can go directly to NASDAQ's data and say, hey, look at NASDAQ's data and give me things that hit the following criteria. And that's what I'd be looking at. And you can ask, like you said, there, if you ask the right questions, act as my research. What I found is an easy start. Act as my research assistant, and then ask your question. So Xi
Jinping just came out here a second ago. China's President Xi says trade wars undermine multilateral trading systems and disrupt global economic order. I mean, the fact that Xi Jinping himself is saying these things, I mean,
yeah, that didn't come from, because I had seen that there. One of the senior officials was meeting with Jensen Huang from NVIDIA today, but again, it wasn't that. I do see that Mexico shine bomb. The talk with Trump was productive. We will keep dialogue. That's in political talk. That's not good news. That means nothing happened. We yelled at each other across the table for a few minutes, and now we'll do that again in a few weeks. So Steve and I, who both have been in part of those meetings in DC, that no news or news that there is still talks going is not what you want to hear. They're not good.
Yeah, a congressional budget meeting today. Talks are ongoing. Yeah, that means they went to lunch at 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're right. They're at the old Abbott right now on their third cocktail. Yeah,
three finger lunches at the White House. Look, these meetings need to continue to happen.
Right. We need them to happen, but we also need the fact that there's no news coming out of them, right? Our White House has made it clear they can't wait to share any good news. So what this tells you is nothing is coming out of them, or at least it tells me nothing is coming out of them.
I will say that the president yelling about Powell and saying that he can't wait until the end is near, right? Okay, so we know, and now Powell knows, he was not going to be reappointed.
All right, so now he can go scorched earth. We don't need more people that have no, you know, sort of.
I don't think that Powell's a scorched earth.
No, right. I don't see it. Listen, man, I've seen other guys go heel much quicker.
But I do,
especially Gary Gensler. Okay, so
you know, we see that every day. Yeah, it's a joke. But I will say we as talking heads need to think about who could be his replacement.
I was about to ask you that. I don't know who is on deck. Who would be the next Fed chairman?
Well, I'll tell you what. Every Secretary of Treasury wants to be the next Fed chairman, right? It needs to be someone in the banking community. It needs to be someone that understands the inner workings and the levers of how the banking and the disco rate works. If for those of you who don't know, the disco rate is the slang term in the Fed for the disco rate, discount rate. The discount rate is the rate between the banks and the federal bank, right? The federal bank loans to the other banks, and what's the rate? They don't pay the same rate that you and I pay. They pay very, very little, and we have to pay attention to the disco rate, because if the rate there goes up, everybody's rates go up. The banks do not absorb that rate. So we need to understand that side of it, and I think that it will be somebody who is looking to cut rates. And right now, you've heard no one in the Fed right now say they want to cut rates except for Waller. Chris Waller did say a couple times that he's looking to do that. I think it'll be somebody outside of the federal government, right, or the Fed governors. I think it'll be somebody who probably has served with Trump, and I think it's somebody who doesn't really care about money. It could very well be someone very close to him and someone who's already served with him. So there's a good chances of it could be somebody in the administration. I'm gonna pull up this name, and I'm not gonna say he's the guy, but it's a good chance of it, and that's Steve Mnuchin, who is the former Secretary of Treasury under Trump in the previous administration, who Trump still loves, thinks the world of. And I know that Trump still loves his family, so there's a good chance he might pick someone in his own family, like his son-in-law. So there's a couple of names here that this is how Trump works, and I think we need to think about it in that perspective. Now, if that's the case, then Trump will have a whole lot more leverage over that person than he does with Powell here.
So the selection is stipulated by the 1935 Banking Act that it's supposed to be someone that's a sitting Federal Reserve Board governor.
It could be, yeah, right. And so what I'm saying is he could appoint Mnuchin to a board and then move on.
Get him in from
because
there,
if you don't know, that Steve Mnuchin bought a bank not too long ago, right? So he's in the banking system already. That's right. Yes, he bought a failing bank in New York and now runs that bank. I think that how hard is it to become a Fed governor? It's not that hard at all, right? When he went to go rescue NYCB, that's New York Community Bank, in 2007 and 2008 during the crisis, he bought the failed residential bank IndyMac. There's a lot going on here, right? And this guy knows the bank. But Steve Mnuchin does one other thing. He makes movies. He does. And this is, the banking community, and he has his finger in the pulse. I kind of like the fact that Steve Mnuchin being a Fed governor. Now, the guy's rich. Do we need to make him a Fed governor? Does he want to be a Fed governor? Probably not. He's like, I don't want my $200,000 compared to my $200 million. But he could be and he will listen to what the president says. He is a mouthpiece for the president. So if I were putting on Kalshi, that it could be Steve Mnuchin as the next Fed.
A couple other ones to keep in mind: Judy Shelton, who he nominated for 2019, wants to go to the gold standard, would come to keep and play with what he likes. Kevin Warsh, who served as a Fed governor in 2006 to 2011. He's tied to Trump personally through his son-in-law. So there are some other people out there. As you said, Waller would be one out there. Michelle Bowman, who Trump put in place as one of the Federal Reserves, would be a good choice too. So there are definitely a list of them there that could come into play. It'd be interesting. I think the Judy Shelton one is the one that interests me the most.
Judy Shelton's interesting because it's a woman at first. You know, I'm pulling for Chris Waller from St. Louis, right? I mean,
Waller makes the most sense, so he won't get it. To me, Waller's the one that if you actually had to make a sound decision. Don't forget that Mark Rowan was also somebody that has been rumored for that position too, which is the CEO of Apollo, and again, another close Trump confidant. And I'm sure our boy Bessent would be very interested in that position too.
I think Scott Bessent loves being Secretary of the Treasury.
Do you think so? But I mean, I know Yellen wanted to be Fed chair. I think that's in the pecking order. Isn't that a higher pecking order?
Correct.
And that's all that anyone can listen. Those people's egos, they might be happy being Treasury, but I'll be happier being this, and I'll be happier being this. That's always the way of Capitol Hill. We're 1 minute from the open. Advanced decline, 1844 in the positive here. So far, so good. Tick is slightly negative. Q's slated to open down about 64 basis point. SPY down about 30. Like Steve said, you really just got to wait for the next tweet is sort of the most important thing to kind of keep your eye on here.
I did find that the U.S. housing permits up 1.6% was very interesting. So people are looking at buying houses with the idea that, the Lennars and the DRIs are thinking that we're going to build.
DRI has earnings today, so DHI. DR Horton does, so we'll get some word out of there. Their earnings were a miss, and they are up 3.3 on it. Though we are open here, ticks positive. We moved up to 2,400 here, so nice move. Again, though, we saw this early yesterday, and it quickly got sold off. So as Steve said, or if you're asking me, tell me who's going to tweet first, and I can tell you which way the market's going to go.
Feds Williams came out, says monetary policy is well positioned, doesn't see need to change rates anytime soon. Says tariffs will drive up inflation this year and lower growth. They're changing the narrative of what I said on Monday, right? Wait till they start changing the narrative to fit their bill, and they're doing it already now. So yeah.
Do you see DR Horton just got a upgrade from Bank of America here? They gave their price target of 125, trading at 121, so not much upside there, but a nice move to the upside from DR Horton here. Tick's gone slightly negative, still sitting right around that 2,500 on the advanced decline line. Q's 445 is where we're starting our battle today, so let me bring that up. Right now we opened here right around that 445, 446 area. First spot I've got slated to keep an eye on is if we can break above 448.60, which was the spot yesterday that was sort of the highs. So we'll see if we can get any movement above that here today. Start off at least to the upside. So far, ticks a little bit negative. Bitcoin holding up at 84,566. Gold came down a little bit to 33.21. It did hit an all-time high again, 33.57 overnight. Silver down a little bit more, down at 32.49 here. Again, it coming off of highs of almost 33.
Down 500 right here now. Nasdaq's up 96.
NVIDIA's gone negative now, down 70 basis points at 103.75. The rest of the Mag 7 is in the positive, although Netflix just went negative. Netflix does have earnings after the bell today, so we will be keeping an eye, of course, on that. That will be a big bellwether for...
UNH is now down 17%, and it looks like it's been halted here.
Wow.
No, it's not halted. It's still moving, but oof.
That's ugly.
I like it here, though. I mean, you know, if you're saying that you liked it at 500, you're liking it here at 484, 43.58, 42. Wow, it's really traveling here. And now Bitcoin now slipping here now pretty fast. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if I like 483. I think maybe
I mean, the
4.
thing is, the UNH is the biggest weight on the Dow Jones, right?
Yeah, today for sure.
I mean, well, it would
Pulling it.
weighted into the Dow Jones itself. It's 9% of the Dow, so that's why you're seeing the Dow down like this. But oof.
Yeah, healthcare sector is the only red sector, down about 61 basis points so far. Big winner so far today is energy, up 1.72. But again, we know energy has been beaten to hell over the last few weeks. Real estate, like Steve said, with those good housing numbers, up about 1.1% here this morning. So we are seeing some of the sectors move to the upside. So far, 10 years back at 4.3 or so. So we are seeing rates rise again, which we don't want to see. And the DXY is still firmly planted below 100. In fact, now seems to be planted below 99.5 here. So tick is nicely positive, though. 425 advanced decline moving up. So it is a stock pickers day so far. SPY's up to 527.13 here and continuing to move towards the highs of the day. High of the day would be 528. Qs look to me like they want to go back to flat here. They continuing to slide down here now at 445. Just lost the 445 handle. So we are seeing more weakness there without a doubt. Most of the tweets are coming out of Lagarde right now. And she's saying it all. We need to stand ready for the unpredictable.
This is an interesting day so far to me. As I'm watching these markets, advanced decline up 3,000. Yeah, Bitcoin's down. UNH can't get a bid here, and these markets. So it is a stock pickers market today, as you said. FedEx up 1.5%. I've been talking about FedEx. You know, I think that people are looking to Starbucks. Look at that. That's not going to be hurt by coffee. You're looking at PLTR, Palantir, up 0.5% here. Look at BTU this morning, up 3.5% here. Yeah, there you go. Nike's up 1.3%. So this is interesting to me here.
Okay, I mean, as a general, outside of healthcare, it seems to be a general broad market move to the upside.
Eli Lilly, of course, is getting doing well. I've talked about Eli Lilly for some blue in the face because the weight loss drugs. Look at Eli Lilly today with their good numbers, up 14%. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like everybody and their brothers and sisters on the weight loss drugs now. So they're doing quite well.
The other one still moving to the upside is Hertz after Bill Ackerman took his stake there. They want to buy that company. Hertz up now 30% today, Steve. Those are the type of companies that are Warren Buffett or somebody else, in this case, Pershing. Square taking a look at maybe purchasing it, move to the upside. You said Eli Lilly was another one that moved up nicely. DR Horton was another one that moved up nicely today on its earnings, DHI. Now it's pretty flat. It had been up to 122 or so. So that one's pulling back a little bit here today. Chinese names moving up a little bit here. Baba, after getting beat down yesterday, up 3.5%. Best Buy up another 1.39% here today. So again, some of those U.S. companies. Steve, Disney up 1.34%, but still trading at 83.88.
Yeah, I mean, I like Disney here. If you don't think people are going to Disney World, that they're crazy, right? I will say the thing that I don't like about Disney right now is the streaming numbers, and there hasn't been any new movies coming out. I know that the new Star Wars.
And there's Snow White. Well, what just came out, right? Snow White was disappointing,
I
to say
mean,
the least.
I that was terrible. Yeah. Look at UNH here. I'm liking UNH. I said this earlier. I think that this is for me, it's a buying opportunity here. I think that I like this down here. I think I liked it better at 479, 480, but I do like it here. 484. I mean, the problem with UNH, they might cut their dividend yield a little bit. Yeah. This market's a little too wonky for me right now. I think I'm just going to sit on my hands, as I always say. For those of you who don't know, when I feel like I don't want it to trade, I call it sitting on my hands because I want to, but you sit in your hands because you keep from.
You have to mention Charles Schwab up 3.36%. I have some news from their earnings here.
My favorite one right now, right? IBKR is not doing that well. People are going over to Charles Schwab, and I like this.
They did talk about that they had, where's my notes here? Sorry.
Revenues up, their trading revenues up. I like it.
Gonna bring crypto trading onto the platform as soon as they get a little bit more regulatory clarity, said their CEO.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have to worry about that too much. We have a president that's very crypto positive, so 478 now the lows of the day on UNH. If it tests here and goes below, yes. Okay, 477.60 here on UNH. Starting to get very interesting here on UNH down at 18.5%. They've tested it twice, guys. If this is interesting to me, as Bitcoin now taking a little bit of a hit too as well. Second test on that four lows of the day there. There it is. See, that's what I kind of figured it. I like it better here at 477.
Seeing Amex came out with their earnings also.
We need somebody to come out with some positive news today. We need somebody just to say, look.
Down 1.59%. I mean, again, American Express, pretty good. They had revenue was up 7% year over year. EPS was up 9%. Card fee revenue up 20% year over year. Their provisions for credit loss, they're actually lowering them to 1.2 billion. Net write-offs did increase due to loan and receivable growth. Their build business grew 6%. Their travel and entertainment grew 7%. Restaurant spending 8% up. Airline spending 4% up. But what we're seeing there, front of the cabin, first and business class is up 11%. Main cabin and domestic softness was noted. CEO said spending and credit trends are as strong or better than 2024. CFO said cardholders are still eating out, enjoying life. So American Express looks pretty good. They did say consumer sentiment fell to a 2-year low, highlighting broader macro unease. And their premium customer base continues to spend on luxury experiences despite broader economic uncertainty. Yeah. So the rich are spending, it looks like, and Amex is a look into that. Bank of America didn't have the same type of numbers yesterday, which is more the everyday person. So it does look like there is a little bit of a difference there, but someone's buying is good for the businesses and going to keep people employed, hopefully.
Howard, I'll tell you, during times like these, when prices are coming down and sales are everywhere, you're going to start seeing that. And if you don't know how to do that, by the way, if you have Gmail, go to your promotions tab and just type in the number 70 or 80 and see how many promotions are coming out at 70%, 80% off, and sales. Just type in the word sales and look how many sales there are. If you see 70% off, 75%, 80% off, you know things are bad, right? And when you do that, and the rich are going to take advantage of that. They did during the recession. They did that, right? And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, as terrible as it sounds, like when the world goes to shit, you have take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's what's going to happen.
We do see advanced decline approaching 4,000 here, so it's still moving up to the upside here. SPY up 45 basis points. Q's trying to break back above that 446 level. Haven't been able to do it so far. RUT is up 57 basis points, so a little surprising to see the small caps moving up the most so far this morning. Bitcoin back at 84,600 here, so moving back up, and gold sitting right around that 33.30 area. So
32.62 now on silver here. Tick up almost 700 here with the advanced decline level, almost 4,000. That's a very positive day. People are feeling positive about it. I know UNH is a drag on the Dow today, but for the most part, it's coming back a little bit. Boeing up 1.6%, still sitting around 159. I
pulled up off my screen here the biggest movers to the upside that have a market cap of at least $2 billion, so mid-size or above. See Hertz up 28.37, Eli Lilly up 16.07. Avis or Budget Group on a sympathy play. I would assume that people are guessing that could be the next one to get bought, up 9.7%. Fidelity up 6.85%. GDS Holdings 6.63. We're back into space today, I guess. AST Space Mobile up 5.79. Patterson UTI Energy 5.4. Viper Energy, Diamondback Energy, a lot of the energy companies coming in after that. Nice move up by Dollar Tree, another one that's made it clear that they have, circumvented the supply chain to a point where that's going to, these trying times of tariffs should help them, not hurt them. So those are some of the movers to the upside. Let's see if anything else catches my eye here. Occidental, which was up yesterday too, up again today. So we do see them with a nice move up for the week. Five Below again, some of the less expensive stores. And on the other side of that, things moving down the most today. We talked about UNH a few times, now down 18.42%. Alignment Healthcare down 16.09. GPN, which is Global Payments, down 13.37. Humana, so healthcare definitely the big loser here. Humana down 8.54. We'll mention Webull down about 7.05, another one of those new IPOs that moved significantly upside on them. Healthcare again, the drag. Elevance down 6.55, CVS down 6.29, West Pharmaceuticals down 6.18. So again, huge amount of that. Snap on, another one down 5.86. Lockheed Martin down 5.13. So got them on both sides for sure. Excuse me.
Yeah, UNH now still living on the bottom of the day here, 475 here. Down almost 20%.
Yep.
Continue to drag the Dow down here a little bit. Cocoa up 5.6% here again. That'll be a drag on Hershey stock.
Hershey's, yeah. Tick has gone slightly negative here. Advanced decline sort of capping out at that 4,000 range, now at 36.67. Qs have just gone neutral on the day. SPY is only up 20 basis points. The RUT holding up 56 basis points so far. Bitcoin back down at 84,384. So we are seeing a little bit of slippage here so far this morning.
Yeah, I don't like this day either. The only thing holding this up is advanced decline line right now. So I don't like this day here at all. We've had 3 solid up days. I said that day 4 and day 5 are tougher and tougher. This will be day 4 or day 3. So no, I don't think so. I think today's probably day 2 of a down decline. So. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing that the Germany's DAX is in the red. Everything's in the red. I think people are starting to see it. It seems like Europe's now they're look, the ECB was way behind the 8 ball, and our Fed's so far behind. It's getting worse on our side.
Yeah, they're at 2.25. they're while they might still be behind, they're at least they've been moving over the last 3-4 months.
And what I say that they're going to change the narrative, right? It's just what they're going to do, and they did. They changed the narrative, and right now the narrative doesn't even fit the bill, right? There's no reason to induce a recession. There's none of it, right? There's no reason for this, and tariffs and high inflation is causing this. So this is man-made. This is not something that just happened out of the blue. This is not COVID now. Well, okay, we can say some COVID was man-made, but the recession here is literally being induced. I don't know if it's being done on purpose. I certainly hope not. That'd be very bad. But right now we can fix these problems, and we don't seem to be wanting to do that. We've seen that the Fed seems to just stick their thumb up there behind and not want to do anything. So, well, we're going to sit and watch and wait for more data. We need more data. We need more data. How much more data do you need? We live in 2025. This is not 1965. That's all we have is data, right? And data sitting right in your face. So I don't know. I'm not a happy camper about all of this. I think the Fed needs to get off their duck and start cutting some rates and understand where we are. Now, the only thing that really scares me is if they have an intermeeting where they have to cut rates in the middle of the meeting, and that between the two big meetings. That would be a problem. But right now, I don't see that.
Yeah, definitely.
We're still seeing linear regression. Look at the tick on linear regression. It's just like clockwork. Advanced decline, all that is working in linear regression right now seems to be pretty tight. Yeah, these big firms were dumping United Health. That's really strange there, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not too concerned here.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of a move back up here.
Gold is still hanging out at 33.22 here, so not really seeing. And it's still trading within linear regression. I think algos are just playing linear regression right now.
Right. Definitely could be. Tick staying up positive. We got an advanced decline back above 4,100. Qs just took off a little bit back up to that 446.35 level.
I like this right here. I think this could be a good. I think we could have a buying opportunity right here. I'm going to be changing my tune a little bit here.
Got to break that 448 on the Qs here to see that happen, but we're trying to make a move to the upside so far, so that's good to see. Darren is now saying China actually returned Boeing jets.
Come on, Bitcoin. Pop up there, baby. Yeah, advanced decline of 4,100 now.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's definitely moving to the upside. Yeah, seeing that China recently returned 3 737 MAX jets from the Zhusan Completion Center to Seattle. That will not be good for Boeing stock. I haven't seen what it's doing here this morning. BA. Up 2.34%.
470 now on UNH. Now that on 19.5%. I think the selling in UNH is way overcooked here. FedEx now up 2% here.
Yeah, in general, outside of healthcare, everything moving up nicely. Energy sector up 2.32%. Utilities up 1.56%. Bank material sector up almost a full percentage point. Consumer staples up 1.12%. Communication services up 1 percentage point. So, again, healthcare, the only laggard of them, and real estate up 1.61%. So we do
Gold
see
is dumping here a little bit, 33.16 here.
a little bit of a move to the downside there.
1,100 of you out there watching. I appreciate all of that. Hey, give us a shout, send some comments. We love this stuff. Thank you for watching.
Outside of NVIDIA, which is now only down 1% and has regained the 103 handle, we do see the other Mag 7 all moving to the upside here. Netflix, the big winner, now up 1.13%. They do have earnings this evening, so do keep that in mind.
Come on, Mr. Bitcoin. Let's go. 84.6. Let's go. Pop up there. Let's catch those shorts pants down.
Tick still staying positive. Advanced decline now trying to go above 4,200 here. So nice move to the upside. Again, SPY, QQQ, and RUT actually small caps up now 70 basis points. They're trying to make a move back up to the upside here. Bitcoin's been pretty stable at that 84,500 area. Gold, like you said, about that 33.15, 33.20 level today has been the main level to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, they really tested it on UNH.
ASTS now up 7% here today. So again, space back in the news here this morning.
Space is always going to, I think space and robotics are the future, right? I mean, I think that's where a lot of money should be moving to. So, yeah. Hey, if you guys get a chance, retweet us out there to other your friends and, family out there.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share us with your friends and all that good stuff. Follow to see us every morning. Nice move up here by Boeing, 2.2%. BABA, 3.59%. So we do, like I said, outside of healthcare in general, moving up nicely to the upside. Berkshire Hathaway is sort of stalled out at this 518 area, Steve, 518.59 today. But, it's made a nice resurgence from the lows that it hit 2 weeks ago towards 460 back up to that 520 area. So nice move back up there. Carvana with another move up here today, 2.13%, trying to break back above that 200-day MA and move to the upside a little bit here. Delta Airlines up almost a full percentage point again. The most now above 84 here, 84.20. Nice move up by the most today, 1.78 to the upside by Disney. Seeing DJT up 2.89%, Dollar Tree up 4.48%. Steve mentioned FedEx up 2% here this morning also. Some of the bigger movers. MSTR back at that 318. It hasn't been able to hold above 325, though. That's the level I'm keeping an eye on for MSTR, and any recovery, it's got to get above that 325 level and hold. Hasn't been able to do that at all. Palantir, as Steve mentioned, up 2.19% here today after dropping down yesterday. So erasing most of the gain of the losses we saw yesterday there. Snowflake down about 30 basis points here. So the software companies that were moving yesterday morning seem to be stalling out here today a little bit too at the same sort of time frame. Mixed bags when it comes to chips. TSM, which reaffirmed their earnings this morning and their future guidance coming in at plus 1.64% here today. ASML up 1 percentage point. Also, we do see broadband down about 36 basis points and NVIDIA unable to really hold above 103 here today, falling back down slightly. Intel, the bigger loser here, down 1.82% so far today. Banking mostly in the green, being led by Japanese bank MUFG up 3.15%. Also IBN, which is ICIC Bank Limited, up 3.97% here today. But we do see Goldman Sachs up 1.12, Morgan Stanley up 1.21, Wells Fargo up 1.75%. The laggards, so to speak, are JP Morgan and Bank of America, both up in about a 0.5 percentage point so far. Tick slightly negative. Looks like we might lose that 4,000 handle on the advanced decline. Not happy. VIX still staying up at this 31.26. As you guys know, I do feel it needs to come back below that 30 here, 30.12, to really give us some more movement in the market. You know, it has just been one little return trip here on the shorter term frame when it comes to the VIX sticking out in this above 30, very elevated area still. Q still sliding down slightly here, down about 38 basis points right now. SPY down about half a percentage point. Okay, Steve, we're coming up on the 10 o'clock hour. Any last words here on what you see coming for us today?
I don't like today. I thought I said earlier I might change my tune. I just don't like it. I don't think people are really trading today. I think people are really waiting for the next tweet and waiting for the next whatever. That's
it does make it tough for sure, without a doubt. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We do have Jeremy Vreeland and Matthew Tuttle on deck today. I'll be back with Mike Shore at 12:30, and then Steve is on later today with an interview with Jim Lorano.
Get my Oreo on there. I like that.
Absolutely. So we've got a busy day for you today here at Quasar Markets, everybody. Have a good day trading, and we will see you in the morning.